I mean, just as maybe a little segue to Robin, and with congregational vitality, one of the things that we try to do in congregational vitality on more of a macro level, let's say, we try to help congregations unfurl themselves, or even try to discover that they have something worth unfurling. And that takes like a lot of time and attention and care, and suggesting and drawing to. And sometimes, that's what, just to play off on a little bit what Corey said, sometimes people might be a little bit hesitant to know their gift, or they might feel even like they don't have any gifts. And with like time and attention and loving care and lots of prayer, you can help people like unfurl their whole selves, their whole spiritual selves and their whole child of God selves, and make that deeper connection. And so the CCFL is one of those kind of tools and environments and relationships that, we all are hoping will help congregations and individuals in congregations to be able to do that.
I love that word, unfurling, because, when we think about education, educare is the Latin behind the word education in our English language, and it means to draw forth. So this idea of drawing forth our gifts, and then the center, the CCFL, hopes to support those gifts by providing deeper opportunities for theological reflection and engagement, deeper courses that explore our scriptures and our tradition, and opportunities to engage with other students, because when we engage with others, we are enriched by what they have to say and by their perspectives. So I love that idea of unfurling your gifts. That's a great word.
Thank you. So I think if we want to move into the actual points of information, to how to access, what's going to be available, what are the different, this might be the wrong word, different paths that you envision people being able to take in the CCFL.
Great. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to share my screen. I have a little PowerPoint because I'm a visual learner. I don't know what kind of learner you are. We all have, speaking of gifts, we all have different ways that we hear things and see things. I'm a visual learner. Maybe you are an auditory learner, so don't worry, I'll keep talking. Maybe you are a learner by doing, an engaged learner who lives experientially. Often called a haptic learner. I'm going to offer this visual presentation to aid your learning today. So let me share my screen. And I'm going to just share my desktop. And let's see if I can minimize that. And I'm going to move all your lovely faces over. And I'm going to start my slideshow. Here we go. Okay, the Center for Christian Formation and Leadership, or CCFL, also known as the Center, is a ministry of the Episcopal Church in Southeast Florida. I hope everyone will take a minute and write down our email address so that if you have any questions, we can follow up with you. That's ccfl@diosef.org, ccfl@diosef.org. So the purpose of the CCFL in the Diocese of Southeast Florida is to be a learning center for adults seeking continuing education in theological studies, as well as spiritual and pastoral formation in the theory and practice of church leadership, by enriching our understanding of the ministry of all the baptized. That means all of our adults in the church, here in the Episcopal Church in Southeast Florida. Graduates of CCFL programs can take active roles in our congregations and in the world to make the transforming love of Jesus Christ come alive in our time and make it known to all people everywhere. We have 3 groups of students who come to us for coursework. There are the students who can work towards a completion certificate in a specific field. So for example, diaconal studies. Students who have been approved to enter into the discernment process for ordained ministry, take courses through the CCFL and can receive a certificate of diaconal studies when they complete their coursework. But we also welcome lay people from all churches, from all over the diocese, who would simply like to take a course to deepen their faith, to better understand our Episcopal tradition, and to strengthen them for their ministries in their local congregations and faith communities. And finally, clergy can take CCFL courses for clergy continuing education credits. So we welcome adults from every walk of life to take courses with us. The basics of how courses work at the CCFL are outlined here. So courses and formation opportunities are offered entirely online at this time, although formation opportunities will be offered in person in the near future. But you can access our courses online, which means that wherever you are in the diocese, whether you're north of Jensen Beach or all the way down in Key West, as long as you have an internet connection and you can connect to Zoom, you can take courses with the CCFL. Courses typically meet once a week for approximately 10 weeks. So we are on a quarter system, not a semester system. So this is great for working adults. You don't have to commit to an entire semester's worth of coursework. You can take a quarter course as your schedule permits. The academic quarter system for us, for the CCFL, is broken down liturgically. So we have in the fall an All Saints, sometimes we call it the All Saints / Advent quarter. In the, oh, there's a typo there. In the Epiphany quarter, that's our winter quarter. We have our Easter quarter and our Pentecost quarter in the summer. So this is our spring term. And the way we've structured courses is that they don't begin in a way that would conflict with a major holy day. So for example, we won't begin on the Feast of the Epiphany for the Epiphany quarter. We'll begin after the second Sunday of Epiphany, and that's to give church leaders, whether they're in lay leadership or whether they're clergy, a time to do the things they need to do around our chief holy days. So we won't have a course on the Feast of the Resurrection on Easter. In the future, we plan to offer in-person learning with an online option. So what does this look like in terms of what courses are offered? Well, this is a very general overview. So don't take this as written in stone, because sometimes courses are offered that don't quite fall into some of these categories. For example, in our spring term, this past spring, we offered a course specifically for lay leaders on how to lead and be led by morning prayer, to better give people some confidence in how to lead a congregation in morning prayer. For some parishes, that can be the chief principal service for the week when they gather on Sunday mornings. If there's not a priest or the priest is away, this was a way for lay people to learn how to lead morning prayer, how to plan a service. And so you probably won't see that course listed here, but it is under pastoral formation and leadership. And so we offered that in the spring. In the fall, we begin students with courses in church history, New Testament, Hebrew Bible, and theology. In the winter, we offer courses in Anglican and Episcopal studies. What does it mean to be an Episcopalian? What is our Episcopal history, our history as the Episcopal Church? We offer courses in Bible, and then we offer a course in ethics. In the spring term, we move towards the study of liturgy. What is liturgy? What does it mean for us? And how does it affect us as Christians? We also offer courses in, and we will offer courses, we haven't yet, but we will, this is part of the plan, to offer courses, especially for people in diaconal formation, in homiletics, in pastoral formation and leadership, and in contemporary society. In our summer term, we focus on liturgics, homiletics, pastoral formation and leadership, and then theory and practice of ministry. One of the benefits of the CCFL program is that there are a variety of courses. It's not just a program that offers maybe some Bible and some theology. We offer all sorts of courses, and they're taught by different instructors. Our instructors currently are people who have a lot of experience in theological education. Many of them have a PhD or a THD, a doctorate of theology, in their fields, and they've taught in seminaries before. We also have different approaches to how we offer courses, so you can do online learning. Soon we will be offering in-person learning opportunities as well. Courses give students an opportunity to reflect deeper on their own time and to read and be exposed to new ideas so that they can reflect on. We also offer practicums and tutorials. That's where we gather together and learn together about how to do something, how to lead morning prayer, for example. We always prioritize the process of thinking theologically. What does it mean to take a passage of scripture, and just as we did this morning, to think theologically about it, what it means, what is God saying to us in this passage, what does it mean for our lives as Christians, as Episcopalians, and what does it mean for the ministry of the church? Finally, students in our courses often have the opportunity to create a project at the end of the term that they can then share with their church or their faith community. So perhaps, for example, in my class on the history of the Episcopal Church, perhaps you will choose to do a PowerPoint presentation on an aspect of church history that really struck you as interesting. And then you can give that presentation during an adult forum or even as part of a Lenten series at your church. We offer opportunities for formation as well. That includes mentoring and reflection. And next year, we'll be offering chances for students to gather together for worship. So I just want to remind you that our email here is ccfl@diosef.org. Now, the bishop has shared with me that one of our diocesan taglines, if you will, is "In Christ we all belong." And when I look at our passage for today, I think about how this is, about the diversity of gifts that people bring to their ministry. That's what this passage speaks to. But then I think about the unity that this passage lifts up, that it is the same God who activates all of these gifts in everyone. And I want you to know that the CCFL can offer opportunities for you to explore your gifts for ministry. We can offer you courses that will help you delve deeper into your faith, into our tradition, but these courses can also help you identify new gifts for ministry. Whenever I take a course, whenever I teach a course, I discover something new. And I hope when you take courses with us, that these courses will do that for you. The CCFL also supports lay ministry by offering courses that can deepen our understanding of our Episcopal identity, as well as deepen our knowledge of the Holy Scriptures. But these courses can help us to really understand the beautiful things that unite us as a church. So you're doing the work of God in your community, for your parish, for your faith community, but you don't have to do it alone. We are here for you to help support you in all that you do. Now, we do ask for support, especially your support in prayer. As I send out emails, I'm going to announce our courses formally in October. So look for emails, look for communications from the CCFL in our community newsletter that is sent out from the diocesan office, from the bishop's office. Look for those announcements and consider sharing those with others. You can promote the center to the people in your parish. Mention the courses to people, for example, like your vestry members, your Sunday school teachers. At the end of an adult confirmation class, you can invite those students to learn even more by taking courses through the CCFL. Also, I just want parishes to consider that if we have students who don't have access to a laptop or to internet, that you consider allowing them maybe to use a computer or to have a resource at your parish so they can connect with us. Most students have been able to connect to us. So we're a resource for all, not just for people training for the diaconate, but for all lay people. I want you to think of the CCFL as a resource if you have questions or if you want suggestions for programs that your church can do. For example, Robin, what's a good Bible study? Robin, what's a good book on the Book of Common Prayer that will help us understand what the Book of Common Prayer is and its history? I can provide you with accessible, interesting resources. We provide opportunities for practical training and theological reflection to serve as effectively as possible the local needs of the Episcopal Church in Southeast Florida, including the needs of congregations, schools, and special ministries. We do emphasize academic rigor in the CCFL, so when you take a course with us, you can expect that it will delve deeply. We emphasize our Episcopal identity in conversation with the rich history of the Anglican tradition. And we have a deep commitment to pastoral ministry and service. We are committed to providing quality theological formation for all. We support anti-racist pedagogies, multicultural approaches to learning, and opportunities for acknowledging and exploring the diverse languages, ethnicities, cultures, and traditions that enrich our experience as Episcopalians in this diocese. Don't forget that our email, one more time, is ccfl@diosef.org. Can you tell that I'm a teacher? And I believe that is my last slide. Now, I do want to direct your attention to our diocesan website. So give me 1 second to bring that up. And am I still sharing? I think
Yes.
I am. Very good. So this is our new diocesan website. I just want to show you that you can locate the CCFL and its contact information under education. So if you go to the education tab and you go down to the very end, there we are. And if you click on that, it takes you to a web page that looks like this, CCFL. And you can read more about the CCFL here. And here is the phone number and the email for the CCFL. And I encourage you to send me an email and ask to be put on our mailing list so that I can send you announcements about our newest courses and what to expect from those learning opportunities. I'm going to stop sharing at this time. Okay, that's my presentation. How'd I do?
Fantastic. Bravo.
Aren't you glad you showed up? So can I ask if there are any questions?
Hi, Robin. You've mentioned that this would be a place for people like me, for clergy who need to do continuing education hours, because I've been, well, in the recent years, we haven't been asked much about continuing education hours, and I have every once in a while called the office and said, am I supposed to do something with something and tell somebody what I've been doing? So I haven't seen the new program of what the bishop is going to be asking of clergy now. I understand it's going to be, we'll know about it soon. But in your offering, will it indicate specifically what courses might be better for clergy? I know I mean, all of us might have areas of interest, but I know talking to you earlier, you were talking about and another thing about particularly higher level things for people who've done this once before. You know, those of us who've been to seminary and we had a class, and now we've taken another class.
Yes, so clergy can take any class. Any class. If you want to take the course on how to lead and be led in morning prayer, I promise you, you will enjoy it. But you can take any class we offer. This raises an important point, which is that some courses delve more deeply than others. So for example, we have this quarter, classes are underway for this quarter, for the fall quarter. One of those classes is Introduction to the New Testament. This is an introductory class, and you've probably had this class before if you went through seminary.
Is this the one Deirdre Good's teaching?
It is, yes.
I had it with her, yeah.
Yeah, okay, it's still fabulous, but yes. And I actually have some people who are clergy who are taking the class simply because they would like to take a class with her.
I made a B-, I could take it again.
Well, next quarter, we're offering New Testament 201, and 200 level courses are courses that delve much more deeply than our 100 level courses. They're not just an introduction, they're taking you deeper. That would be a great class for clergy to take. Right now, I can't make too many announcements until I make my formal announcement about the classes, but you need to have a prerequisite in New Testament. You need to have Introduction to New Testament before you take this next New Testament course, the 201 level New Testament course. But that delves more deeply and asks students to do a little bit more than the introduction course.
So if I had a parishioner who was just starting out, I would not recommend a 200 level course, but a deacon who's done introductory work at any theological school could go into the 201. Is that correct? You
do need to have, yeah. So if you've done theological work before, what I would suggest is to have that person, you mentioned a deacon maybe at your parish, to reach out to me, because I'll need to make sure that they did that work. You know, you do need to show that you've already taken a class in order to take a 200 level class.
Thank you.
Robin, just for information's sake, what are the costs of the classes?
So for our 10-week quarter courses that are academic in focus, it's $250 per course. This is a substantially smaller amount that you pay in tuition than you would at a university, where often it's $250 per credit hour or more. So there are some universities in our area that charge like $500 per credit hour. So if you take a 3-credit course with them, you're paying 3 times 5, $1,500 per course. That's expensive. So what we try to do is offer an affordable option.
Okay. Oh, are you considering, maybe not right now, but are you considering intensives, that kind of compressed Saturday learning style, where are you considering that kind of style of learning?
So by an intensive, do you mean a one-day seminar that's offered on one Saturday?
It might be a one-day seminar, or it might be a series of, say a series of 4 Saturdays or something like that.
Right now, the practica, that is the practical pieces that students in the diaconal studies program will do, those are envisioned to be half-day Saturday morning sessions, where students gather together with a priest and learn how to do liturgy and how to be a deacon at the altar. But I can't say more about that part of the program. I think the best person to talk with about that would be the bishop.
Okay.
However, let me say that intensives are something that we can consider, and I'll be happy to consider it. And if you have a specific program in mind that you're interested in, please email me, because I'd love to hear what your interests are.
Mhm.
But I do want to point out that the person who is really in charge of this is the bishop.
Right. Right.
You know, like he makes
Right.
the final decisions about
Mhm.
all that we do.
Right.
And I'm just delighted to be able to do my part in it, you know. So what I'm trying to do, and I don't know if this is coming across very well, what I'm trying to say is that for questions about could you offer in the future, I would love to have a conversation, but I need to bring that to the bishop for his consideration.
Absolutely. I understand. Right. Right. Um, I had another question with regard to, I'm coming at this from the congregational vitality perspective. Both of those questions were in that light. Um, are the classes going to be bilingual? Are they bilingual, or are they going to be bilingual? How's that going to work?
So currently they are in English.
Okay.
I love the idea of offering courses that could be accessible for many different people. And so the idea of a bilingual course, I
Mhm.
think sounds really wonderful. Right now they're offered in English, and they will continue to be offered in English, but let me bring that to the bishop as a suggestion.
Mhm. Okay. All right. I won't hog the question, so I'm going to back off on the
It's
question.
okay. It's okay. Jean, do you have any questions?
Not at this time. I've been reading though through the online, your online CFL-E formation, so I'm getting more of an idea.
Great. On the diocesan webpage that I showed you?
Yes.
Great. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for your time.
Wait, I need to ask one more question.
please.
Clergy centered. I found the idea that you could be almost an individual consultant for clergy with regard to making suggestions about, oh, this would be a great Advent study, or how might the clergy best like access that information from you? I mean,
So if you're looking for ideas for a parish-based class, please email me
okay.
and tell me what you're looking for. Are you looking for a Lenten series, a book study? Are you interested in an online video series that's free of charge? Are you interested in resources from the Episcopal Church? We actually have a new church's teaching series that is excellent. And so I can recommend several titles from that series that are affordable, that are accessible. You can purchase them from church publishing and then either give them to your students or have students purchase them from you, or you can direct students to the church publishing website and have them purchase their resources individually. There's just a lot that our church offers. And I want to share that with you. So if you're looking for ideas, send me an email, tell me specifically what you're looking for, and I'll be happy to provide some titles for you.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much. Any more questions for CCFL in our, well,
Can I ask one question? The classes, do you have them notated, like who they would be good for?
So when I have advertised them in our diocesan communications that come from the bishop's office, I've always put under the course description, and I do this in my emails as well. Don't forget to sign up. Don't forget to email me and say, sign me up for your emails so that I can get the latest and greatest information. But in my course description that I share, I always put this course is especially necessary for people in the diaconal formation program, or for people who are seeking leadership in the Episcopal Church in Southeast Florida through the discernment process. So if you're in diaconal formation, this is one of your essential courses.
Oh, actually, that leads me to one more question, Robin. And I know you've explained this before, but I'm not clear about it. And just in case somebody asks me, would you explain the diaconal process is part of, but not completely enmeshed in the center? So would you explain that so that I can make sure if anyone asks me that information, I know what I'm talking about?
Well, the relationship of the center to the Commission on Ministry is that we provide the theological formation and education as a support to the people who are in the discernment process. The discernment process has been carefully crafted by the bishop and the Commission on Ministry. And the best person to ask about the discernment process besides the bishop himself, the best people, I should say, are the three chairs of the Commission on Ministry. And that includes Reverend Sanford Groff, Reverend Leslie Haig, and the Venerable Hal Hurley. And I'm going to share my screen because I thought I might get a question about this. If we go back to our diocesan website, I'm so sorry, my bulldog is sitting next to me on the couch and snoring. If you can hear it, I am so sorry. If you go to mission on our diocesan website to the bishop's office and you click this tab, you will be taken to a tab or a page that looks like this: bishop and office staff. And there's the bishop, who is your best source for information about these things. But I want you to know that we have people who are the co-chairs of our Commission on Ministry. And one of the co-chairs is Hal Hurley, and this is his email. If you click this, if you're on the diocesan website, it will take you immediately into your mail client, your whatever program you use for email, and it will automatically populate the email address with his email address. But if you want to write it down, it's Hal, H-A-L, at diosef.org. That's diosef.org. And he is one of the three co-chairs on the Commission on Ministry. If you have questions about the discernment process, he would be a great person to reach out to. He's also our Archdeacon for African Descent Ministries. So he's just a good person to be in communication with. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen at this time. So for people in formation for the diaconate, there are courses that the Commission on Ministry and that the bishop wants them to take, and that's a separate sort of, here's diaconal studies. For lay people who are interested in congregational discernment, I would encourage them to talk to their rector first, and then for their rector to reach out to Hal or to the other Commission on Ministry co-chairs, Sanford and Leslie, and then they can provide you with the procedure for creating that discernment team in your parish and for the steps that the discernment process requires. There are specific steps.
Yeah.
And they can provide you with what that looks like.
Okay. So
That makes sense.
it makes complete sense. And so let's say somebody, they are just thinking, well, I would like to have some more information. So I'm going to sign up for the center, and they're not really sure. I might be called, I might not be called. I don't know. I just want more information. They'll take a class.
Mhm.
And if they think, oh, I want to explore this more, then they would contact the commission. Is that kind of,
Contact their priest.
They contact their rector first.
or contact the priest, right.
Yeah. So
Thank you,
taking
Corey.
yes.
Like, not the, no.
So this is a great example. So let's say I want to deepen my faith, so I take a course, one of the CCFL courses, and during the course of that that class, I start to think about, what am I called to do? Am I called to ordained ministry, ordained life? I would need to first talk with my rector.
What if you don't have a rector?
Oh, yeah. What if you don't have a rector?
Then I would have that person reach out to one of the Commission on Ministry co-chairs.
I'd go with the dean.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's wise. Yeah, go with the dean, right?
Okay.
That's what we did. We had somebody in that
Yeah.
situation in this deanery,
Yeah.
and he started with me, and then I am his local. I mean, he's going
Yeah.
through some other things, but he started with me, and then I went and made the connections and the calls and figured out what his next
Good
steps were.
idea, Corey.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good.
Appreciate that. I do want to say that just because you're taking courses that are part of the diaconal formation program, that does not guarantee ordination. It
Right.
does not guarantee that you will that any ordination status change will happen for you. So in other words, just because you're taking a class, that's not like you're automatically admitted into postulancy,
Right.
right? You're just taking a class. So the relationship of the CCFL to the Commission on Ministry, once again, is one of support.
Right.
So we offer the classes, but the Commission on Ministry and the bishop are really the people who are focused on that ordination discernment
Right.
continuum.
They're two separate doors in the same house. You know?
Well,
Yeah.
well, we're all in the same house
Yeah.
because we're all
Yeah.
this church.
Right. Right.
But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Saying that these are
Second.
two ministries. The Commission on
Yeah.
Ministry is a ministry, and then the CCFL is a ministry that work together.
Mhm. All right. Well, thank you. I mean, you've answered all my questions. I feel
Oh, good.
this was a great presentation, by the way.
I'm so glad you
Yeah.
liked it. Thank you.
Really good. Really good. Yeah.
Because I'm so visual, it's helpful for me to both have something on the screen and then to talk. Some people don't like that. They don't like you to say what's on the screen. They want you to talk around it because they just don't find it helpful. But I find that distracting. I don't know about you. So sometimes I think it's best to be able to share something that people can read while you're saying it. So.
Yeah, I agree, especially since there's a lot of new information. It's not the same as it was. So it's helpful to hear it and see it. I agree.
Well, and that's a good point, that the history of the CCFL is that we had a diocesan school for Christian studies that had a different model for pedagogy and a different structure for courses. And that diocesan school, we're still doing the same stuff in the sense that we're still teaching New Testament and church history and all these exciting things. But the advantage now is that people all over our diocese, they don't have to drive to one central location. They can access it online.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I do have one more question, just one more. And
Okay.
that is, are the classes meeting primarily in the evening?
So we try to accommodate the schedules of working adults.
Okay.
And so classes will meet on weeknights from 7 to 8:30 online via Zoom.
Okay.
However, there are exceptions to that. I offered a course on Sunday afternoons. I did one course from 4 to 5:30. And I think one of my instructors for next quarter is considering 6 to 7:30 on a Sunday evening.
Okay. Well, fantastic. There's so many opportunities for, I could see a whole parish taking a class, setting it up in the parish hall. I could. I mean, seriously, especially for clergy, if you don't have an assistant or, you could say to your congregation, look, we're going to take this class. This is going to be the cost of the class, for everybody to take it. And I could see that would be such an asset to congregations in our diocese and to clergy.
Well, I mean, that's such an interesting idea of having sort of the class happening on a screen, and then you have like a big forum of people gathered, like in the parish hall or in
Right.
the, you know,
Yeah.
I think one thing that I would ask as a teacher is, well, how do we manage class participation? So, for example, if I had 20 people in my living room right now, by the way, I'm in my living room, that's flowers behind me, not, I'm not a tree. But let's say instead of the flowers, I had a lot of people behind me sort of, around my, like peeking in on my screen. And then one starts asking a question at the same time as another.
Yeah.
And then instead of talking to you all on our Zoom call, they're talking behind me about something completely different.
Well,
So
yeah. But you know what you could do though? You could have a congregation wide. Like we have all our vestry meetings on Zoom now, because our vestry is all over the United States. And
So everyone's at home doing
so
it.
everyone's at home, but you could sign up, your parish. I mean, I could see this as an amazing tool in my congregation where I could say, look, CCFL is offering this for Lent. Let's all take this class and, for 10 weeks. And then we could even have like little coffees, at certain points to talk about it offline. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. And I think if that's something that you're interested in, I would suggest emailing me.
I am really interested in that.
Well, here's the thing. So we don't offer Lenten series.
Okay, well, whatever. You know what I mean?
So the course is 10 weeks, and that's longer than Lent.
Yeah, I mean, I was just saying that because it fell out of my mouth, but
No. Well, and it's a very natural thing for a rector to want, because that's one of the things that we do. We when we're in the parish, one of our responsibilities is to provide these kind of opportunities during Lent, traditionally, and throughout the year. So remember that I can be a resource to give you teaching materials and like a book study. I think book studies are great, especially book studies because of my field in church history, to understand how we got here, but also book studies on the spirituality of what it means to be an Episcopalian, and then everyone can have a book, they can have a resource they can read. And then really all you have to do is get everyone together and say, well, this week we read this chapter and it talked about, I don't know, there's so many options that it's hard to narrow it down. It talked about the Book of Common Prayer. What did you learn? What struck you? What's interesting to you? And then you let the discussion happen, and then you end with a prayer. I mean, it could be as simple as that.
right.
So there are multiple opportunities for resources. The idea of an entire parish taking a class is intriguing to me. And I wonder if it would crash Zoom if you had
No, I mean, think about it. No, it wouldn't at all. Not one bit.
Okay. What an interesting idea. That has not actually been raised to me before, that an entire church might want to take a class. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
All right.
I need to think about how we could facilitate that.
All right. Well, I mean, thank you again. This has been just, wonderful and so exciting. And if you would like to lead us in a closing prayer, Robin, that would be wonderful.
We have my handy dandy prayer book right here. One thing I do want to say that everyone on the call should know is that our focus for classes for the next several quarters is going to be on classes that people who are in the process for formation, in the discernment process, will need. Because we do have people in the discernment process, and I know that there is an interest from the Commission on Ministry to start them in their required courses as soon as possible. So I just want to let you know that you can still take courses, but it might be a hard sell to ask your whole parish to take systematic theology.
Absolutely.
I think they might love it, but it might be a hard one to sell.
Right.
Okay, let me get my prayer together here. This is from the Book of Common Prayer on page 824. This is prayer 31 for schools and colleges. We are a ministry of the diocese, but we offer education. So I'm going to offer this prayer today. The Lord be with you.
And also with you.
Let us pray. O eternal God, bless all schools, colleges, and universities, and especially bless the Center for Christian Formation and Leadership, that they may be lively centers for sound learning, new discovery, and the pursuit of wisdom. And grant that those who teach and those who learn may find you to be the source of all truth. Through Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me be here and